This week on Undercover Boss, 4 community leaders go undercover in their organizations to make sure preparation for Census 2020, the most important issue this year, are on track. It all starts with hours of intense professional makeup and wardrobe transformation to completely disguise their real identity. Next, they are cleverly embedded deep within the organization.
Hello, I work here now.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? Chill out.
The census needs to be really convenient, and I really want to make that happen. I want to use all the latest communication tools, Morse code, telegraph, MySpace.
Actually, people can respond by phone, online, or by mail. We've got it covered.
I guess that could work, but would someone out there explain to the young professionals table what MySpace is?
Hey, did you know Billie Eilish just won the Best New Artist? Did you know the total U.S. population in 2010 was 308,745,538 people, and that census data determines the distribution of $675 billion. Yay, that's what's up.
I'm now deeply embedded into the Rochester Hills culture, and so far, no one has recognized me. My job now is to get into the perfect position to count everyone for the 2020 census.
What's the mayor doing over there?
I'm going to make sure that everybody's personal information is safe, and I'm going to guarantee that myself. Get back, get back, get back. You too, back, away, get back.
Whoa. Everyone's personal information is safe with the census with data encryption and firewalls, but not like this.
Team, we have to come up with the 2020 census catchphrase.
Okay, how about you can run, but you can't hide?
How about come out, wherever you are?
No. How about 2020 census? We're gonna get you.
Guys, you know who always has the best ideas?
Chris Barnett!
Unbelievable! You're fired!
Don't miss the Undercover Boss special event. Viewership is mandatory.
Good morning, I'm John Young, Vice President of Communications for Oakland University. I'm also the 2020 Chair of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Community Outlook Breakfast. Since 1955, the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce has been committed to providing leadership and resources to advance business development in the greater Rochester area. Our chamber has risen over the years to become one of the largest in the state of Michigan, serving almost 900 members. With over 130 events and programs annually, it takes a dedicated staff and the exemplary leadership from my fellow board members to continue to promote growth and prosperity in our region. I'm excited to kick off this year's program, but before we welcome our community leaders for a Q&A session, let's hear their announcements on 2019 achievements and their 2020 plans.
Good morning, I'm Robert Shaner, Superintendent for the Rochester Community School District. It's always an honor to join you at this wonderful community event. At its core, education is an enterprise of hope, inspiration, and love. Immense pride comes from knowing that our children's success is, due to a large degree, a result of learning from a team of highly skilled, caring professionals who build strong relationships and make that individual connection with students, parents, and the community. These trusted relationships play an important role in our children's well-being. Rochester Community Schools' world-class curriculum includes wellness programs to assist students with making informed decisions about their health, and our vast partnerships provide additional awareness, training, and resources that support student growth. Nevertheless, our district, like so many others across the country, has not been immune to tragedy. Recent suicides, drug-related deaths of former students, and growing accounts of student anxiety and depression have impacted our entire community. 1 year ago at this very event, we made a formal commitment, a promise to our community to care for the whole child, academically, socially, and emotionally. We formed a task force to evaluate the types of programs currently in place. We studied organizational best practices, and we created a plan to promote social and emotional wellness and resilience, and cultivate a community of acceptance to remove the stigma of asking for and getting help. The team proceeded with great care and thoughtful consideration to ensure the work would be sustainable and systemic. Early on in our process, we recognized that our social and emotional wellness efforts directly align with our journey to promote diversity, equity, and belonging. These initiatives are intertwined and based on the fundamental belief that all members of our community, no matter their race, their ethnicity, their socioeconomic class, gender, language, religion, or sexual orientation, are made to feel safe, valued, and respected. We are proud of the great strides that we have made over the past year in the area of social and emotional learning. Partnering with various subject matter experts and the Center for Trauma and Resilient Communities ensures our teachers, administrators, and staff receive the best possible training. We're also thankful for those in the community who have graciously reached out with additional opportunities and support to continue our journey with fidelity. The Rochester Community Schools Foundation, the Rochester Rotary, and other private donors generously contributed to our efforts. Mayor Barnett also connected us with an opportunity to advocate for all students at the White House Summit in Washington, D.C., where the focus was transforming mental health treatment to combat homelessness, violence, and substance abuse. Ultimately, our goal is to put a behavioral health clinician in every school building, someone readily available for our students who can provide intervention and treatment free of charge. We believe this is what's best for our kids. The most important point of emphasis from our conversations is that all stakeholders need to understand this work is unlike curricular or instructional change. It's a mindset shift, a systemic district focus, not a series of events. It will require an ongoing process, not a time-bound solution. When the social, emotional, and cultural proficiency work is truly being implemented, it will not require additional tasks. It will be our way of life. One thing is certain, as we move forward, partnerships will continue to be a key part of our success. Our increased collaboration with students, families, staff, and the community will help guide us through our journey so we can expand our resources and make sure that we care for the whole child. Thank you for your support of Rochester Community Schools.
Hi, I'm Mike Bailey, Supervisor of Oakland Township. Did you know that Oakland Township is one of the first 25 townships formed in the state of Michigan, and that Rochester, Rochester Hills, and Orion Township were once included in Oakland Township? Last year, we celebrated our 200th anniversary of the first land purchase in Oakland Township. In 1835, the Paint Creek grist mill, powered by its water wheel driven by Paint Creek water flowing down its mill race, were built in Goodison, and Goodison became and remains today the heart of Oakland Township. Last year, the Paint Creek cider mill received its coveted State of Michigan historic marker. The second floor of the Paint Creek cider mill now houses our Parks and Recreation and Historic District Commissions. We cherish and nurture our parks, and we have 1,300 acres of parkland and our historic structures in Oakland Township. Our Parks and Recreation Commission just updated our master plan for our parks that will assure they remain beloved spaces for our residents to view natural beauty and wildlife within our parklands. We share them with residents from Rochester and Rochester Hills. In turn, Oakland Township residents prefer to support commercial entities in Rochester and Rochester Hills rather than building commercial properties in Oakland Township. It is a perfect marriage for all three communities. 4 objectives for 2020. First, implement increases in EMS manpower and facilities to meet OCMCA response time requirements for Oakland Township. Number 2, work with the Road Commission of Oakland County to implement optimum road maintenance strategies for all 44 miles of our gravel roads in Oakland Township. Number 3, finalize timelines to build Eagle mandated water storage reservoirs for the southeast and southwest community well systems. And number 4, we want to be prepared for the 2020 census. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited today to talk about some of the projects that will happen in Rochester in 2020. The first project I would like to talk about is our multi-million-dollar investment in the renovation of our Public Works complex. The entire complex is being renovated and will provide a new administration building as well as creating the ability to store and maintain city equipment. This project shows our commitment to serving our citizens and also providing our excellent city workers a safe and professional environment to work. I would also like to announce that we are planning a complete renovation of the Rochester Community House. Plans are being finalized to make the Community House a great site for community events, weddings, and other events and a gathering place for the entire community. Through a partnership with the City Council and the Community House will become a modern and efficient place for the community to come together. The city will continue to spend millions of dollars on improving our infrastructure. We will have many projects that work to improve the road, water, and sewer lines at the same time. We are coordinating our projects with other municipalities so we can have the best utilization of our tax dollars while trying to minimize the inconvenience to our citizens. Improving and maintaining our infrastructure is a core goal of our City Council. We are also very excited to announce a memorial to be constructed at the Fire Hall to remember the victims of the attack of 9/11 and also to remember our military veterans. This project is called Heroes Point and was funded by a gift from the Elliott family. Heroes Point was conceived over 2 years ago when a piece of the remaining structure from the World Trade Center North Tower was donated to a member of the Rochester Fire Department. Heroes Point pays tribute to the first responders, past and present, and also to our military veterans. With the city's rich heritage of service, we are thrilled to announce today the ribbon cutting for Heroes Point will take place on 9/11 this fall. And finally, Rochester continues to be a great place to live and to work. Our excellent police and fire departments provide us with one of the safest cities in our country. Our downtown continues to be a vibrant and exciting place to bring your family. Our neighborhoods are beautiful, and our property values continue to increase. Our city government is strong and provides excellent city services. Our taxes remain some of the lowest in Oakland County, and our property values have been growing steadily. The real strength of Rochester are the citizens of Rochester, who are warm, friendly, and open to all people. 2020 looks like a great year for the great city of Rochester. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Community Outlook Breakfast, or probably what it should be known at this point in the game, the Community Outlook Brunch. And forgive me if I'm a little bit off. I'm still trying to get over the fact that Mike Bailey listens to Billie Eilish. I imagine you are as well. Well, listen, it's a privilege to real quickly give you an update on what's happening in the city of Rochester Hills, a city of which I am so incredibly proud to lead. If you were to sum up the last 18 months, I think you would say we've really been focused on investing in our future and improving the quality of life for those who live, work, and play in our city. 2 huge projects the city is undertaking that are currently under development and simultaneously changing the city of Rochester Hills. I reported on them briefly a little bit this morning. Auburn Road, great work done last year as the road really went under a massive transformation. This year, we're putting in the city's first splash pad and the city's first major installation of art will also be along the Auburn Road corridor. We're thrilled at the progress of that project. Subsequent to that development, the next biggest thing happening, of course, is the Innovation Hills project, which has been my passion for a number of years. Innovation Hills, of course, we opened in the fall of last year with a tremendous celebration, a glow-in-the-dark evening celebration. This year we've added bathrooms, more parking, more boardwalks, and soon, in the next 60 days, we'll be breaking ground on a $2.5 million playground, the biggest in Southeast Michigan, to enhance a visitor experience to Innovation Hills. Now, not only are we investing in the quality of life, but we're continuing to invest in our economic diversity as well. We were celebrating some tremendous numbers as Rochester Hills is really leading Southeast Michigan in some of the economic development opportunities that we've seen come our way. We've got the first Von Mauer coming to the old Carson's location here later on this year. And of course, the development around French Corner has made Rochester Hills the epicenter for French companies looking to locate here in Southeast Michigan. And it's not just economic success we're enjoying. We continue to be recognized by third parties like Money Magazine, which recognized the city as the best place to live in the entire state of Michigan, and the FBI, which said not only are we the best place to live, but we're the safest place to live, this time for the 4th consecutive year, the safest place to live anywhere in the state of Michigan. So we continue to enjoy a tremendous amount of blessings and success, and for that we're grateful. Now, I'm personally grateful to the residents of Rochester Hills who not only have allowed me to serve as their mayor for at least the last 13 years, but this year as not only their mayor, but America's mayor. And to serve as the president of the United States Conference of Mayors has been the highest honor that I've ever had professionally. And it's allowed me to do quite a few things, hopefully for the region, like to bring 50 U.S. mayors from across the country right here to Rochester and Rochester Hills, most of them for the first time, to experience firsthand some of the success of which we're all so proud. It's also allowed me a seat at the table on key issues like immigration and innovation and infrastructure, and of course the opportunity to work and advance our efforts on inclusion. And of course, speaking of being at the table, it's to help me develop a relationship with those who are empowered to affect our community. Most recently, at an invitation of the President, to attend the USMCA signing, a bill really important to most of the businesses, many in this room, but certainly in our community. So we've been able to tell our story not just here in Michigan, but around the country and around the world. And there's one more story I'm really interested in sharing this year, and that is the story of a successful census for the city of Rochester Hills. This is so incredibly important. There's some information at your table that talks a little bit about what you can do to make sure you and your family and your loved ones are counted, but there's probably nothing more impactful to the future of our community than making sure you participate and are counted in the 2020 census. It's been my privilege to bring you this brief update. It is my ultimate privilege to serve as the mayor of Rochester Hills. Thank you for your attention, and now I turn it over to Elena Campbell.
Good morning. I'm Elena Campbell, president of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce and the Rochester Regional Chamber Foundation. Thank you for coming to the 2020 Community Outlook Breakfast. This is just one of the many events the Chamber hosts to help keep you, our members, informed and engaged. I hope you enjoyed hearing updates from our local leaders, and there's still more to come with an opportunity for you to ask questions. Over the past year, the Chamber hosted over 121 events, conducted 43 ribbon cuttings, and welcomed almost 180 new members. We also launched our peer solution groups last year. These groups bring together industry-related professionals to collaborate on trends, issues, and best practices. Currently, we have 2 successful groups, our foodpreneurs and human resource professionals. Upcoming in 2020, we're excited to expand the number of peer solution groups to include senior services and creative professionals, so we can serve even more of our almost 900 members. As you know, 2020 is a big election year, and we're dedicated to helping you stay informed. Our Legislative Affairs Committee will host several events throughout the year, giving businesses opportunities to speak with local candidates before and after the primaries. Please watch Chamber Communications for dates and more details. Finally, this year, we will work diligently with our Board of Directors to update our strategic plan for the next 5 years. Their wisdom and expertise will bring tremendous value as we develop impactful programming to benefit you, our members, and the next generation of leaders. The Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce and Foundation strives to provide outstanding service, opportunities, and resources to our members to help you reach your business and professional goals. And we strive to be a vital community partner, working alongside our nonprofit organizations, municipalities, and residents, helping to ensure our community remains an amazing place to live, work, and play.
Okay, thank you. Let's give I'd like to extend a special thanks to Jason Dale and Dan Kessler at Rochester Hills TV for producing this video each year. As you can tell, they put a lot of time and effort in trying to make Mayor Barnett look 5 pounds lighter on screen. When I did the introductions earlier, I didn't realize we have other Rochester Community School Board members with us today, and I certainly don't want to exclude them. I understand President Kristen Bull, Vice President Kevin Beers, and Barb Arness are also with us, so please give them a round of applause. Okay, finally at that point, at this time I'm pleased to introduce this morning's leaders to participate in the panel discussion. Although you've already seen their faces on screen, I'm going to personally introduce them. Mike Bailey has a master's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Michigan. He worked at Ford Motor Company and then General Motors before retiring in 2000 as the Director of Suspension and Steering for trucks. He served on the Oakland Township Planning Commission, was elected to 2 consecutive terms as an Oakland Township trustee, and has served as the Oakland Township Supervisor since 2016. Please welcome Oakland Township Supervisor Mike Bailey. Okay, and next we have the City of Rochester Mayor Stuart Bixson. Mr. Bixson has an MBA from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and a Master of Arts degree in teaching from Oakland University. He is currently an economics and government teacher at Waterford Mott High School. He has served as past board chair of both RARA and the OPC and has been elected to 7 consecutive terms on the Rochester City Council. Please welcome Mayor Stuart Bixson. Okay, next we have the mayor of the City of Rochester Hills, Brian Barnett. Mayor Barnett has served over 13 years as the Rochester Hills mayor, establishing himself as the city's longest-serving mayor. He was recently elected the president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors and is now serving as America's mayor, as you heard once or twice earlier. He is one of only 6, we are really proud of you, Brian. He is one of only 6 mayors from Michigan since 1932 to ever hold this influential leadership position. He is a graduate of Oakland University School of Business, so please welcome Mayor Brian Barnett. Last but not least is Dr. Robert Shaner. He is the superintendent of the Rochester Community School District and has been so since 2013. In fact, I think I just read in the paper that you were just appointed to another term, so congratulations. Dr. Shaner provides executive management for 13 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 3 comprehensive high schools, 1 alternative high school, and 1 child care center. He is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran and former police officer, earned his PhD in educational leadership from Oakland University, and he was recently recognized as the 2020 Superintendent of the Year by the Michigan Association of Superintendents and Administrators. So please welcome Dr. Shaner. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, you just provided us an overview of some of the initiatives that your respective communities had last year, as well as in the school district. So we're going to go ahead and just do a deep dive and try to get a little bit more information from you on other developments. As you know, the Chamber is focused on economic development, business growth, community prosperity, and providing programs and services that enhance business potential. Starting with Supervisor Bailey, can you please tell us what your business climate looks like in your community as of right now?
Well, as I indicated in my earlier comments, Oakland Township is not about economic development. We rely on the economic development in our neighbors, City of Rochester, Rochester Hills, and others around our township. Our township's strength is centered around the individual homes, and it's a bedroom community. It's been that way for a long time. I've been in the township for 44 years, and I was elected on the basis of keeping it just like it has been for the last 44 years. But we certainly do support the economic development in our neighbors.
Okay, thank you. What about you, Mayor Bixson? Can you tell us what's happening with the City of Rochester?
Business is great in Rochester right now. Our Downtown Development Authority, our downtown, has a 3% vacancy, which is the envy of cities throughout the state of Michigan and actually throughout the country. So our downtown is booming. Our building is booming in town. We've just completed the Cedarbrook project. We just completed the Frank Rewald & Son World Headquarters building. We have businesses coming into our city left and right. And we are spending a lot of money on infrastructure, like I said earlier. And also, for the first time ever, our net assets in the city of Rochester are over $1 billion for a city our size, that's an amazing figure. So business is booming in Rochester.
Thank you. Mayor Barnett, what does the business climate look like for the city of Rochester Hills?
Thank you. Well, if you've watched any of these Democratic debates, you know that you answer the question you want to answer, not the question they give you. So let's get back to this farce that Orion Township is a good place to live. This is Elena Campbell's last Community Outlook luncheon. No, so the business community and Outlook is great. I mean, you saw some of the highlights, but just quickly, if you look at sort of the retail environment, you saw last year we added, the city's first Art Van, the city's first Aldi's. This year we talked about the Von Maur coming in 2020. From the more industrial side, which I'm really proud to talk about. I don't know how many people understand in our 11 or 12 industrial parks how much really cool innovation is happening. We've got some of the industry leaders globally on autonomous vehicles being developed in our city right now. As you know, I say this all the time, thanks to, in large part, FANUC, but also Perry and Motoman. We're the robotics capital of the continent. More robots are made here in your hometown than any place else in North America. We're also the same for automotive leather. More automotive leather is processed here in Rochester Hills. So we have some really exciting things happening. As I mentioned in the video, we're now the epicenter. Almost every French company looking to locate in Michigan comes to Rochester Hills because of a unique business arrangement we have with some real strong French business leaders, the French Chamber of Commerce. So we are, I think, a great complement to our friends in Rochester and Oakland Township, and our numbers are off the charts. We're really building a diverse, innovative, and generous business community that contributes to our overall, being an overall great place to live.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Shaner, as you heard this morning at the press conference, with your help and the help of the administrators and the educators, the Chamber's Foundation is trying to assist our businesses with talent development by providing our youth and career exploration opportunities. What other pressing issues in the educational system are you currently facing in the Rochester area?
Well, it's no secret from a press conference and my presentation, we're working diligently on diversity, inclusion, and belonging and mental health in terms of social, emotional curriculum. But also, we're thinking about those partnerships with businesses, both internally within Rochester Hills and the greater Rochester area, as well as outwardly focused. Last Friday, I was down at the Detroit event where Dan Gilbert spoke, and building partnerships there to bring folks to Rochester Hills and to build relationships. The other thing that we're critically focused on is the next 5 years in our strategic plan. This notion of talent development has two parts to it, right? There's an immediate need. There's a ton of business folks in here that need talent and need employees now. But we also have to consider what that's going to look like in 5, 10, and 15 years. We recently started our strategic plan kickoff event. We brought Dr. Bill Daggett into Rochester Community Schools to talk about that. And he had some really interesting things to say about what automation looks like and what critical skills are. Things like kindness, timeliness, leadership. Those are we call those soft skills, but he kind of led us to believe that that's not a soft skill, that's a critical skill. The other thing I'd like to challenge your thinking with is anything that can be replaced with an algorithm probably will. And if you haven't seen the video of, like for instance, bricklaying, right? People say, oh, we'll always need bricklayers. There's actually a video where they have a robot laying bricks on a house, and it's happening fast. They have another video. I want this piece of equipment. Anyone like painting their home? They have this robot that'll paint a room, at least 2 shades, in 20 minutes, and it does a better job than a human. So, and I'm not saying that we don't have a talent issue now that we don't need to address. I think we have to dream big about the future and how we're going to meet the needs of every child.
Sure. Well, thank you. I just want to add that I don't think robots look good in black robes.
That's something that can't be replaced.
That's
something that can't be replaced by an algorithm, by the way.
Neither do some of our judges.
Oh, I knew I should have talked faster. Regional transit is and has been a hot topic for quite some time for Oakland County. In fact, the Oakland County Executive Coulter addressed it in his State of the County speech last week and confirmed his commitment to maintain and strengthen the accountability provisions negotiated by L. Brooks Patterson and his administration. Starting with Mayor Bixson, what are your community's views on regional transit and how should we move forward?
Well, that is a controversial question. First, I do agree that we should have better relations with our partners in the other counties. It's always good to have better relations and things. So we've had differences in the past. I think we should improve those. Having said that, in 2016 we had an election that defeated the RTA, and in our community defeated it overwhelmingly. And I think what the people say counts. As an elected official, I believe in what the people say. I believe in elections. The second thing is, we don't even know what the plan is. So how can we, the taxpayers of Rochester, be forced to pay taxes on some program we don't even know what's going on? So they're going to tax the people of our area and send the money to some place that probably most people in Rochester will never use. So I have some real concerns about that. And that is an awfully big tax. I don't know if people are aware, that's a 1.5 mil. That's a huge tax. That's going to hurt a lot of people in Rochester. And again, we are not using, or we're not going to get the benefits of it, and we're going to have to pay the tax on it. And is there going to be a road tax on top of the RTA tax coming down the line? So there's a lot of tax issues. There's, to me, a lot of issues, and I think that our community should be able to opt out of it. And I hope that our representatives in Lansing can work out some kind of compromise to have that. So the people of Rochester have spoken on this issue, and I have a lot of concerns on it.
Thank you. Mayor Burnett?
Yeah, it's probably the hottest topic right now. In fact, timing is everything. I was in the Free Press yesterday in what I would sort of describe as a little bit of a hit piece, where I think, unfortunately, some of the louder regional voices will tend to cast anyone who even questions participating in a regional transit plan as being isolationist. Let me assure you that the city of Rochester Hills understands the value of being a regional player and wants to participate. Let me also assure the people in this room and the residents of Rochester Hills that in order for us to participate, it's got to make sense for our community. And the conversations that I've had in the last 2 weeks, I've spoken with Senate Leader Shirkey, Mr. Chatfield, the Speaker of the House, Mayor Duggan, who is a very close personal friend of mine, always advocating that Rochester Hills needs to somehow have relevance in this discussion. And the way this is moving through Lansing and potentially through the county, it's questionable how much relevance a city like Rochester Hills will have. Here's the challenges for the city of Rochester Hills, is once you lop off Macomb County in any discussion, this discussion of public transportation is great for people in my community so long as you want to travel south or southwest. Other than that, it doesn't much help. And the numbers, as Mayor Bixson was talking about, is pretty substantial. The millage, or the rates that at least are being discussed, capped at 5, possibly 3, maybe less, would be the third most expensive item you pay for on your tax bill. For an average Rochester Hills home, which is $320,000, this would be about $500 a year you'd be paying for participation in this transit plan. And the fact that there's no plan is really concerning to me. And when they've come before us with a plan, they've said, we'll run a line up Rochester Road. So if you live in Rochester Hills, you get to Rochester Road, say you want to go to the Tiger game, you get to Rochester Road, you'll park at Target, you'll take a bus to Oakland Mall, get on another bus, and it'll take you an hour and 20 minutes to get to the ballpark. That's a challenge for people in my community, and it doesn't indicate in any way that we don't want to be part of a larger region. If County Executive Coulter's still in the room, we want to be a part of the discussion. We think moving quickly this year is wrong unless you have great buy-in. The last thing I'll say, Judge, is that we asked our residents in a statistically significant survey whether or not they felt mass transit and public transportation is important. About 40% of them said that it was, okay? And this was a study done by the RTA. And we asked them, what would you be willing to pay? And of the 40% of the people that said they felt mass transit was important, they were willing to pay on average up to $65 or $70 a year. So when this transit plan is talking about numbers 10, or 6, 8 times that, we really have to be a part of the discussion. I'm passionate about that, passionate about hearing for the media in the room that we're not isolationists. We want to participate. I'm advocating for a coalition of the willing. We don't want to stop public transportation, but it has to make sense for our community if we're going to be footing such a big part of the bill.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Bailey, what are your thoughts?
Can't say a whole lot more than what's already been said. Oakland Township, along with all the other townships in Oakland County, are strongly opposed to what we've heard so far, but we want to hear a detailed plan before we make any formal statements on it. But at the moment, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to benefit Oakland Township residents. So given that, a very high millage for something that doesn't benefit us at all, why would we be interested in that?
Thank you. Very, very important topic, so I thank you for your thoughts. We also heard this morning about an inaugural United States event called Campus Party Tech Fest, which is coming to the TCF this August. As Elena explained this morning, the event brings together millennials, students, professionals, and geeks for an interactive festival of innovation, creativity, science, entrepreneurship, and entertainment. This generation is technologically savvy, they're creative, they're collaborative, and disruptive in a good way. But as you know, the Chamber supports the young professionals and is partnering with Campus Party Tech Fest for the event. Starting with Mayor Barnett, what are you doing to attract and work with this generation?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. And one of the things we did in our staff was we had a staff meeting, and I said, you know, what are the millennials thinking? What do they want? What are they looking at local government for? And we went around the room and realized nobody knew. So we adjourned the meeting, and we all went somewhere. I took a group of 3 people. We went to have lunch here on the campus. Some people went to Starbucks. Frankly, I don't know where everybody went. They came back, though. That was important. And we basically went somewhere to try to find out where millennials are. And we asked them. I sat down at a lunch table. I didn't say who I was. I said, does anybody think about getting into local government here? And, of course, no student in the Oakland Center was thinking about getting into local government. And so we realized we have to figure out better ways to engage the next generation, not only because we seek their counsel, we want to be relevant for them as they grow, but obviously we need people to fill our shoes in the future, right? So we put a real plan in place where we started a fellowship program. We found 6 fellows from Oakland University and Wayne State to join our team for 6 months to try to help us better understand how we could reach the millennials and the next generation. We started having some specific and thoughtful and intentional outreaches, like our museum now has a young leaders program that is just made up of people under 40, I think, that are just designed to help us think differently about the museum. So we are really trying to be intentional about how we go out and seek their input and weave them into the fabric of everything we do.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Bixson, what is the city of Rochester doing to attract these youth in this
Well,
generation?
I think I know a lot about young people because I spend most of my day with young people. And just a little...
He's a teacher.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. just a little thing you probably didn't know, they're really into their phones all the time. You guys probably didn't know that. But actually, I see a lot of people around here are into their phones as well. I'd say turn the phones off, but they don't listen to me at Waterford Ma, and I'm sure you guys aren't going to listen to me as well. We're doing a lot for our city, through our city. One, we're developing a citywide communication plan, and we're going to be working to spend a lot of effort to communicate with younger people, social media. I know our DDA spends a lot of time with social media to try to reach the people. And I think the person in our staff who's writing this is a millennial. Blaine can, yeah, she's a millennial, so we've, Jane, we've reached out to her to do that. So we also, as a city, we've started to hire interns for different departments to kind of get them involved in city government to see what they have. And we've had some very interesting people work here who've been very successful and done a lot of really great things for our city. And also, I think what our city needs to provide is a place that younger people want to come to. So we have our vibrant downtown, which we think offers a lot to our younger people. We have a lot of parks, things to do, trails and stuff that we're very proud of. We have the Rochester schools for young families who want to move to town. And we think we just have an excellent community that's safe and secure and a place that young people want to come to. And finally, we have a lot of new high-tech job and companies coming into town that we think people will want to come. So we are really providing a great base for people who want to come to town as young people.
Thank you. Dr. Shaner, you already touched on this a little bit, but is there anything additional that the school system's doing in terms of trying to encourage those young people that are interested in technology to go into some type of employment opportunities for them through the schools?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things I would say. First of all, our outward focus on building business partnerships and developing a really compelling investor relations story, so we can build those partnerships and bring people into our school community that can help kids. Also, though, I would say internally, we have expanded our robotics program on a very large scale. We actually have the largest robotics program in the state of Michigan. It goes all the way down into elementary school now. And quite honestly, it's because of community partnerships. The parents and the business partners that run those programs are committed to them, and now we've been able to expand that into the curriculum. So this is the first year that we'll actually have a high school robotics course, coding course, along with our robotics program. So two things. Internally, we're continuing to work on world-class curriculum and instruction, and I think outwardly we're trying to build strong business partnerships so we know what's going on and what we need to deliver to our young people.
Great, thank you. So in addition to focusing on future labor markets, we know that communities need to address the challenges of its aging populations. In fact, according to SEMCA, southeastern Michigan has the greater proportion of baby boomers than the rest of the nation. Starting with Supervisor Bailey, what do you see as the greatest challenge to your community when it comes to the aging population?
Two things. First of all, we talked earlier about Blossom Ridge and Blossom Creek. We have a wonderful facility for our seniors to go from single-family living or condominium living to living in that senior location. So that's certainly an opportunity that hasn't been available to our residents up until that development, and it's just a fabulous development. Those of us that have toured the place continue to be amazed at how beautiful it is and how wonderful it is. And some of the people that contested that fairly loudly, it turns out, are the ones who've rented those spaces now. So it's proof that there's a demand for that market, and it's working out very well. The other thing that we're striving to do is provide the EMS service to our residents. We know that our population is aging, like all areas in southeastern Michigan. Perhaps in Oakland Township it's even higher because the entrance level to come into Oakland Township, frankly, is somewhat higher in terms of income to live in Oakland Township. So we are striving diligently within our economic funds to make sure that our EMS service is the best possible, and especially in the southeast quadrant. We are in the process of adding another station to do EMS that'll come on stream in the next year or so. Those are the two things we're striving to do.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Bixson, what do you see as the greatest challenge for the aging population in the city of Rochester?
Well, I think there are challenges, but I also look at it as an opportunity. I welcome our seniors in our community. I think they add a great benefit to the community. Seniors have money to spend in our town, and especially the baby boomers are the ones with the most disposable income. So I think to have a lot of seniors in town is a good thing, and it's something that we like to have. I mean, you want to have a mix of people, but having seniors in town is good. One of the things that we have is, the OPC. We have Renee Courtright out here, the director. Mike Bailey and I served on the board for a number of years, and so that's just a great facility to help older people. Has all kinds of things for seniors from 50s all the way up into the 90s. My own father has moved back into town. Actually lives in Rochester Hills, and having him back in town, he's out doing things, spending money. And he actually still picks up the tab for me when we go out to dinner, so that's a good thing. So we have our downtown that's very walkable for seniors. We have a great healthcare system around here. And also in the city of Rochester, we now have a fire department that is second to none. We have a full-time fire department, so we have excellent EMS services and things. So we honor having seniors in our community, and I believe we do a lot for them, and we're welcome to have them.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Barnett.
Yeah, so first of all, I appreciate your personal interest in senior citizens, Judge Julie.
I'm always looking out for you.
I was going to say, if you're curious, it's basically folks Judge Julie's age and above that we're talking about here. you know, if you ask me, the number one thing we can do to support our seniors is love on, support, and embrace what the OPC is doing. They are really why we are on the map regionally with senior services and sort of the wraparound services that they provide. You know, outside of what they're doing, obviously you look at your building community and you know what your folks are saying. We need more more single story residences because our population is aging. The average age in Rochester Hills is 42, which might not sound old, but that's old regionally and nationally. So we know we need to continue to provide unique services. That's why we're building this playground in Innovation Hills that is for everyone. That's why we just built the first multi-generational playground at Bloomer Park last year, because we want to make sure people are engaged. And the last thing I would say about the senior population is not just looking at them as providing recreation, but tapping into the talent that they have. Most of those folks, if you go over to the OPC, I'm over there on Mondays with the mayor. I mean, these folks are retired engineers, brilliant folks that brought relevance to this region. And the more we can tap into those skills, find job opportunities for them, find opportunities to place them at Rochester University or at Oakland University, we all benefit from that. So, you know, we took an autonomous vehicle over there and let them play with it and help them understand what it's all about. We took, believe it or not, when recreational marijuana was passed, we took weed over there and help them understand what you can and can't do, and try to help them understand to be a vibrant part of this community. That's going to come back and bite me.
That's Brian Barnett over here. Yeah. Brian.
What the mayor's meant to say.
We brought it, and then we took it all with us when we left.
And then
all overseen by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office. So, you know, part of it is just keeping them engaged and not viewing them as this outside group that we just kind of seek with their elders and we go to them at voting time, but rather keeping them engaged in the everyday culture of our city. And that's all you're going to probably remember this whole morning. I should have not said that.
Now I know why my mom wants to keep making brownies every week. All right, roads. That's always a big question here in Michigan, and certainly Rochester Hills, and Oakland Township aren't immune from it. What current or future road work in your community is going to have the biggest impact on area businesses? Mayor Barnett, let's start with you.
So I kind of look up at the ceiling and look at the road network that we have in here. I'm trying to go through it. So probably the biggest impact overall will be what we're doing in Auburn Road. You saw the massive just way we've kind of blown that whole area up and recreated what we think will be a destination area. And the community, the residents down there are super excited. Auburn Road will probably be the biggest impact. But if you think about road construction this year, we're going to be on DeQuinder, widening DeQuinder north to Auburn Road. We're going to be repaving Livernois Road from where we ended by the Ascension Hospital north to the roundabout. We're going to be repaving Avon Road from in front of Rochester University all the way to the city's eastern border. So we've got a lot of repaving projects, but repaving projects are not nearly as bad as reconstruction, which of course, I don't know if anybody remembers Livernois Road last year. You know, we don't have anything quite like that happening this year, but I will say this just to end this. You know, roads have confounded Lansing, they've confounded Washington, and I'm really proud of the strong support our residents and the visionary leadership of our administration and specifically our city council. We've done a really good job, and I'm proud when people complain about roads. You know, if you drive through Rochester Hills, they're pretty good because we've been investing in them every year. We put more money into roads in the last 4 years than we probably did in the 15 years prior. And we do that intentionally because, you know, we want to make sure that we're investing in ourselves, and that's really important. So I know there's lots of other groups that have struggled how to fix roads, but I think the Rochester Hills model has been one people can follow. Explain to your residents the need, the residents support it, and then the administration, supported by the council, execute it and get it done. I think our roads are in pretty decent shape.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Shaner, as you know, Livernois Road did impact some of the schools. Is there any other future development that you think will impact any of the schools when it comes to road work?
Well, as you know, when we have quite often snow days, people go outside their homes and say, I don't understand why we had a snow day. The roads are fine. But you know, we have a very large school district, 66 square miles, and much of that, 40% of it is dirt roads. And that just can't be helped sometimes in terms of making sure it's safe. So I appreciate that. I think that the great thing about Livernois Road, and I think Brian, I'll echo what Brian just said,
the partnership. It was an inconvenience, certainly. It was an inconvenience for the community. We had to move our buses elsewhere, but we were able to partner with Alan Schneck and his crew, and we were able to work on our bus garage at the same time that the road was getting worked on. So we have a brand new facility for our buses, which, by the way, was woefully inept and now is world class. And we have a road that is not pockmarked. So it's a great example of partnership, I think. And for the record, I'm a member of the OPC, and I'm there 3 days a week, despite my youthful appearance. So, Renee.
All right, Mayor Bixson.
Yeah, I just want you to know, Dr. Shaner, that when schools are called off, I'm not complaining about that. So you're not going to get a call from me. Our city council, one of our core things is our infrastructure, improving our roads. You know, we had the big Ludlow project that we finished last year, and actually we won a state award for that project. I'm not exactly sure how they determine that award, but we'll take that. A couple of the bigger projects that we're looking at in the next couple of years, we're going to have to do North Rochester Road from downtown up to Tinkin, so that's going to be, you know, a huge project. And we're also going to be redoing the intersection at Rochester Road and Romeo, where the Dairy Queen is. That's a safety thing, and so we're going to be doing that in the next couple of years. So that actually is going to be a big project and going to be disruptive. We're going to have on our website an interactive map on where stuff is going on, where construction is going on in our area to help people navigate things better. And kind of a pie in the sky project that we have is we're looking at potentially, and I know I've talked to Congressperson Slotkin and our city council about a bridge over to South Street to kind of open up South Street in a way to get rid of some of the traffic that we have. As people know, downtown Rochester has a lot of traffic, and it's not all from Rochester residents. It's from Oakland Township and everybody trying to get through Rochester. So we're always looking at ways to try to help the traffic problem, which has becoming, an issue in town.
Thank you. Just quickly, Supervisor Bailey, are there any big projects going on in Oakland Township involving roads?
Well, last year, actually, in 2019, we completed a partnership with the Road Commission to construct a roundabout at the Gunn and Adams Road. Adams Road and Rochester Road are the two main north-south roads throughout Oakland Township, and we make it a strategy to make certain that those roads are kept in best condition and traffic flows the smoothest. But to comment on Dr. Shaner's comment about dirt roads, we have 44 miles of gravel roads in Oakland Township, and our board has been very active in supplementing our tri-party funds from our general fund to re-gravel all of our roads, and our goal is to have all of our gravel roads resurfaced with new gravel every 5 years. We haven't quite got there yet, but that's our target. That's what the Road Commission has told us is best practice. And on some of the gravel roads, because they were constructed so many decades before, they do not have proper ditching. And in order to maintain a gravel road, you have to have proper ditching. So we're looking into a GRIP, it's an acronym for Gravel Road Improvement Plan, working with the Road Commission of Oakland County to do the right thing and put in ditches on those roads that don't have ditches today. So those are the things we're looking at.
Thank you. So we have a couple questions from the audience that I'm going to go ahead and read right now, starting with Mayor Barnett. I'm going to have you answer this first. Has there been any preparation related to the potential pandemic coronavirus that has been a serious threat overseas in your city?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I was in China last month with a personal matter with my sister, and many of you, by the way, thank you for the prayers and concern and the thoughtfulness that you showed my family. But I've been very much aware of this. I hosted two calls with the chairman of the CDC in the last 10 days, and certainly getting the information is important. Our goal is to inform and not alarm. As you know, this is a massive issue in China and starting to be in some other countries. Here in the U.S., it's still in the about 24 or so infected cases. So we work closely with the CDC to make sure we're getting information. We're talking about the airports that have been used to house some of these folks. It hasn't been an issue here, but I will tell you that we are absolutely in the stream of information. And because of my national role, like I said, I've chaired these calls with hundreds of mayors across the country, getting the latest. Our most recent CDC call was on Saturday to kind of get the latest on what's going on with some of the cruise ships and some of the other things. So we will work with those in the healthcare field, with Ascension and others. At the moment, they're telling us that we're okay here. Still pales in comparison to many of the other sicknesses and bugs that are out there, but we're very much aware of it.
Okay, thank you. What about, let me ask you, Dr. Shaner, what are the schools doing to try to anticipate any potential issues with this problem?
Well, first of all, we're very thankful that we have a school nurse program and someone that's dedicated to monitoring this, and we also have a great collaboration with the Oakland County Health Department. I think the important thing to remember about this is exactly what the mayor was talking about is information. Let's not get alarmed. Let's make sure we're operating off of good information and make sure that we're setting a great example for kids. We always have to remember in our business that one of our most important things is to set a great example for kids. So we need to work off of the information and continue to work with the collaboration that we have with our school nurse program, Ascension, and the Oakland County Health Department. And they've all been awesome, quite frankly.
Okay, great. This question is for Mayor Bixen. Are the community house renovations being paid for by the city of Rochester?
The answer to that is yes. I think, or at least the majority of it, there is a fundraising arm that we have Alan out there. We could have him answer that question, but the majority of it, it's a big project. The community house is an old building that needs a lot of work, and so the city will be primarily paying for it. We bonded for some money to fix our DPW yard as well with that in mind, but there also is a lot of fundraising going on that we hope can take up a lot of that cost. If anybody here wants to donate, you're more than welcome. But yeah, so the city, we have a number of buildings in town that we are getting a facility management plan together to look at, and we're going to look at having to maintain a number of buildings that maybe haven't been maintained as well as they should be in the past. But I really believe that the community center is a jewel for our city. All the different communities use it, the schools use it. And it's also an alternative for less expensive kind of weddings and some things. So we really believe in it, and I think our city council supports that very strongly.
Okay. And this one I'm going to open it up to whoever wants to answer this first. With the advances in autonomous vehicles, how are you ensuring that your cities are ready for this transformation in terms of infrastructure?
Yeah, so I'm super passionate about this. I was blessed to be able to be, I think, the first non-Ford employee to do a ride in the city of Detroit in a, whatever the level is, autonomous vehicle. I think this is really exciting, and it's not exciting for me because you think, okay, now I'll be able to text and drive, or I can return emails while I can drive. For me, this is about our senior population that lives about 10 years beyond their ability to drive. It's about our community with the disabilities that have never known mobility the way they might be able to in an autonomous vehicle world. And so, there's some community companies, one called DataSpeed, that's here in Rochester Hills, that is literally on the cutting edge globally of autonomous vehicle technology. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things we did is we took that gentleman, the CEO, an Oakland University graduate, to our OPC with a vehicle and opened the floor up. And people said, I don't know about this technology, I'm not too sure about it. And then a woman without sight stood up and said, I can't wait for this technology. And it was this poignant moment where you're able to see what something like this could do in the future. So in terms of infrastructure, we're still a little bit early in terms of, how do we look at curb cuts and all these, and what kind of, 5G or data, collection agencies that we're going to need to make it happen. But we are starting in the planning department to look at how it's going to impact our community. And being a part of these conversations, I'm really excited about what it could mean. I want Rochester Hills to be Michigan's leader when it comes to autonomous vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Shaner, this one's for you. Great job on addressing mental health in schools. There have been many studies and beliefs that social media and cell phone usage can contribute to this. There are many successful stories of schools banning cell phones in schools and its benefits. Have the been any discussions or thoughts about testing this out in the Rochester community schools?
That's something that's a hot topic and something that's talked about often. I just want to give you something to think about, though, in terms of how we think about our future. I heard this said of a futurist, I think it was the U.S. Conference of Mayors. The person that's going to live 150 years has already been born. Think about that. And I share that with you because we need to think about this dynamically. Is social media an issue for kids, particularly in the area of bullying? Because when I went to school, for instance, we didn't have cell phones. I could go home, I could get away from the bullying if I were bullied. And maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but now the social media is constant. But the social media is not going away, ladies and gentlemen. We could ban it in school. The reality of it is we've got to teach kids how to cope. This is nothing more than what we've talked about earlier today about effective social emotional instruction, social emotional health, where we have teachers that are well-trained in trauma-informed instruction. We have a community that understands it, and we have a community that understands how to parent in a technologically savvy world. We can get rid of it for a period of time, but sooner or later, I guess I'd akin it to an icebox versus a refrigerator. You know, we could get rid of refrigerators, but sooner or later the kids are going to figure out that their soda's colder in a refrigerator and they don't have to go get ice out of the lake, right? So as much as I appreciate that there's some of these very affluent schools in the West Coast that are quote-unquote banning technology, I don't think they are. I think what they're doing is banning the use of cell phones for certain things. I don't think they're banning technology per se. I think they're still doing coding. I think they're teaching robotics. I think it's really about how do we cope? How do we teach kids to operate? Because they're going to live a very long time in a technologically advanced world that we can't even imagine. Have you guys seen the 60 Minutes piece where the guy orders a pizza without ever speaking? He actually has a thing connected to his brain and his glasses, and he orders a Domino's pizza without never saying a word.
That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, it's amazing. So and the reason I bring that up is I don't even think we can imagine what the world's going to look like in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and the technological advancements are going to move with even more speed.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're going to segue right now into our lightning round questions, which has also become somewhat of a tradition with this community Outlook breakfast. So, gentlemen, please respond with 1 or 2 words. Starting with Supervisor Bailey, if you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
I think right now is darn good. I mean,
So you're not traveling?
I'm not traveling. There's no point in dwelling on the past, and I see no advantage in that. The present is where it's all out. You can't control anything that's already happened. It's life is in front of you, so I'm all about the present.
Okay, how about you, Mayor Bixson?
That's not a very good answer to that question, is it? I just saw something on George Washington, so I thought it'd be fun to go back to 1776 and kind of be part of that excitement of a revolution and a new beginning of a country.
Mayor Barnett?
I've always been fascinated by these, watching the Windsors, last night, and so this kings and queens of probably the 1700s. I think it'd be fun. I'd want to get out of there before I got sick, though.
How about you, Dr. Shaner?
As an old history teacher, I would like to experience the American West at the time of Lewis and Clark.
Very cool. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, and be careful how you answer this question, how good of a driver are you? Let's start with Mayor Barnett.
What's the highest?
0 to 10.
Well, I would say that you've never seen me in court, so that's a good sign.
Not in my courtroom.
I think I'm a great driver, but Maria would probably disagree. I'm fast.
All right.
10.
10. Dr. Shaner?
Oh, I think I'm a 10. My kids think I'm a 3.
Mayor Bixson?
Absolutely, a 10.
And Supervisor Bailey?
A strong 9.5.
The only honest guy up here. All right. What is your favorite city in the United States besides the one where you live? Supervisor Bailey?
Ann Arbor.
I have to go with Ann Arbor as well.
Please say easy.
That's definitely. All these cities I don't want to say are running through my mind. I'd probably pick one with a beach somewhere in Florida.
Washington, D.C.
All right, great. All right, finally, and this is the last round or lightning round question. If your life was a movie, what would the title be? Dr. Shaner?
Wow. Forrest Gump. I actually did have braces on my legs when I was a kid, so.
Mayor Barnett, don't say Fast and Furious.
I feel like this is going to be a meme if I say the wrong thing. I don't, boy, what my life would be, it was a movie. This is cheesy, but maybe The Patriot? I don't know. I'm into government.
All right, Mayor Bixson?
That's a tough one. I just saw something on the Academy Awards. How about Rocky?
Okay. Supervisor Bailey?
Ford versus Ferrari.
There you go. All right, well, I want to thank our panelists, and on behalf of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, we do have a small token of appreciation for all that you do to serve your communities. Each panelist is receiving a bottle of wine from Fieldstone Winery and hard cider, along with a chamber wine glass, a box of chocolates from Zoet, the new Belgian waffle and chocolate shop in downtown Rochester, and a bag of Mishi gummies from Sherm's Candy in Oakland Township. Once again, I want to thank Jason Dale and Dan Kessler with Rochester Hills TV for producing the video, our host, Oakland University, our chamber partners and table sponsors, and of course, our presenting partners, Ascension Providence Rochester Hospital, First State Bank, and Mosherry. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.